it's Kristen with Simply a Student, and today I am back with what worked and what didn't work for my sixth grader last year. So we are in the middle of crazy curriculum. Summer has just been insane for us this year. Usually I have a pretty downtime at the beginning of summer where I can kind of catch up on some things and have time to think, and then we get into some more summer activities. This summer, from the get-go, the day we finished our evals and stuff that we have to do for our state, I went as a counselor for the first time on a youth retreat. I did youth camps as a child, but never a retreat as a counselor. And so that was my first one that night because it was my daughter's first retreat as a moving into youth. And since then, that was like pedal to the metal. Our summer has just been insane. So I keep saying I will get these videos out for you, and I have not done them, and I apologize for that. But I know people are like fine-tuning all of their curriculum picks, really trying to dig in. If you are a new homeschooler, you might still be trying to really distinguish what works for you, what you want to try this year. And so I want to get out. You will hopefully see an influx of videos from me over the next week or two of what works and didn't works, and then what we plan on using for our upcoming year. So you will probably see, like I said, a lot of content coming out in a short period of time, just so I can get it out there for you while everybody's trying to plan. So this is what worked and what didn't work for my sixth grader last year. And I think it's important to share what didn't work, because sometimes we can find something better, or we can find why that didn't work for somebody else and may work for us, or why it didn't work for them. We might be in the same situation. We don't have to waste our time, our money, those resources that we can be short on. So anyways, that all being said, we tried the one year daily devotionals last year. Now, all of my students did this. We bought the older version. It was probably around July, August last year. I was able to find like the year before's version for half price. And I had wanted them after watching Erica from Confessions of a Homeschooler. And I thought it would be really great. And as we got into it, my daughter did not agree with me. And you will see that a vast majority of this is still blank. So she did start the year out doing it. And I'm not going to show like her actual stuff, but you can see it's written in there. But she only made it a couple weeks in, and she just did not care for this. I'm not really sure why. I still think it's a nice program. As you'll find out later, I did continue to do this throughout the year with my younger kids, as I have to assist them more in their assignments, and they enjoyed it, but she did not. So what she did end up doing was the 50 daily devotionals for kids only. And they do say ages 3 to 9. I don't know if it was because it was shorter. They just had like a day where it had a short little bit in it, and then here, that was like the day you worked through, and then it had a prayer at the end, and then it starts the next day. So we picked up several of these. This one was based on attitude. We had one on honesty. I can't remember. There was a few other ones. And so she did those through the school year, and she really seemed to like them. So that's what she chose to do instead of this, which is what you saw in our beginning of the school year. I can't even tell you, like I said, why it didn't work. I don't know if it was just, I think she just wanted something shorter. She wanted something she could read and reflect on. And this has a lot of writing and like fill in the blanks. And it has some games and stuff, which my other kids liked and just did not jive for her. So I guess more of a conversationalist she is, or more of a thinker than a writer in that aspect. So it did not work for her. Now, for language arts, we do, and if you watched my video last year, you would know we do a different things. We don't do a one and all kind of curriculum. So I will start with handwriting. Another one all of my kids adore, except for my oldest. And she liked this in the past, but she did handwriting level 6. She did do over half of this. And her younger sister can't wait to like continue moving up in this, but she just asked me this year, this coming year, if she would maybe could try something different, and she would continue handwriting, but she didn't want to do this last year. So it was, I don't want to say it was a fight with her. but it was always like the last thing done. And she's never complained about handwriting. She's done this in the past. So again, I'm not even positive why, and I don't think she knows why she didn't like doing it. Because it even has things like working on states and capitals that she does love, those types of things. So, I will say, she's told me though, if you are familiar with The Good and the Beautiful, it does have all of these like fun type of extra things in it, and she does not like those. She just wants to do the handwriting and be done with it. She doesn't want to mess with all the extras. So that might be the reason she decided not to do this in the future, but she did work on it throughout the year. She rather worked on making her handwriting better when she was doing her other activities. So then we did, for the bulk, we did language lessons for a living education 6. She did enjoy this. We've done this for several years. If you're not familiar with the setup, I go through a little bit of it in my what we're using this year. And I know there's definitely a lot of other videos out there. She enjoys having all the different aspects, the like the poetry and the picture studies and all of those types of things, just a little bit different aspect than some of her other assignments give her. So we did go through this. She does not do the vocabulary in this. There is some vocabulary, and she doesn't, or sorry, not the vocabulary. There is some vocabulary worked in, but she does not do the spelling in this. So there is, every 5th day is a spelling assignment, and she does not do that because she does something different. So, and that was from the get-go. So that did work for us this year. For some people, it will be a complete thing. They will be able to use that for all of their language arts. Some people feel like it's not enough and they need to supplement. So she didn't do spelling in there because it doesn't work for her. We took a long time to figure out what works for her, and the thing that does work, and she did do this year and will continue, is the Phonetic Zoo. If you are familiar with this, it's by IEW, and it's an auditory program where you can listen to it on CD, and you go through and you just practice writing them, and then you get quizzed, and if you can get them all correct, then we move on to the next week. So you keep doing them until you can get that rule down and you're getting them correct, rather than this week we're working on this, and whether you get it or not, we're moving to the next week. So it's kind of more of a mastery program in that aspect, rather than just weekly do it and move on. So that did continue to work. She loves it. Because she does that, she just does not do the language lessons for a living education spelling. I mentioned vocabulary. She's always loved vocabulary. So this year, as well as last, we had done vocabulary for the gifted student. She does enjoy this book. It is a challenge for her. Which meant there were days she didn't feel like doing it, but as a whole, she really does like this. I do feel it works well at expanding her vocabulary. It's fairly easy. There's a couple pages that she didn't finish in the end, so I'll just show you those just in case you have not seen my other videos on this. And they're just basic. And this is by Flash Kids for anybody who may be interested. There's just, like I said, there's probably like a week or maybe 2 left that we had used those days for like field trips or other activities that we didn't finish it up. So, so she did use that for vocabulary. And then in addition, now this is what I mean about not complete. I don't feel, for where she struggles and where her strengths and weaknesses are, that language lessons for living education is enough for her for writing. That's something she struggled on, something that we've kind of pushed to the wayside so that we could work on some other weaknesses. We came out of a public school program with her, and her love for learning declined very quickly. And so our first couple years into homeschooling were about getting that love for learning back, really fostering that, and then working on her weaknesses. We worked on some other things. Now we're starting to move into writing. So we did beef up her writing a little bit this year. She did 6 trait writing and text-based writing, both by Emma Moore. Now, She did not love this program, but she did do this program. You will notice it is 5th grade. We went down a grade just to be able to, like I said, to work a little bit more on the basics. It did help her. I did see a noticeable improvement, but she still did not care for this. It is very basic, very black and white, kind of just, which I mean, writing can be, but it was just boring. She just didn't like it. But she did complete it for the year. I also, because she did not love it though, I did put her, now not till like May, I put her in an out school class that worked on writing, and that she seemed to enjoy. So we will be trying something different next year, because this part she did not enjoy at all. She loves nonfiction. I feel it's important that she can write nonfiction writing. I don't personally care, because writing is not her forte, if she can write creatively or not. I'm not going to spend all of my time beating a horse that she's not interested in doing as a career down the road. But non-fiction writing, both for texts that she may need to write in college, also for just communication basis, I do want her to be able to do. So I did have her work on this some. She did not care for the MMOR stuff. That was her first time using it. Her siblings have used it in the past. So I don't think we'll be doing this in the future. We have a different plan for next year. But I do think they are a solid program. I think that they're very straightforward, very easy to follow. So if that's something you're interested, there are short days on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday planning, and then like Thursday, Friday are a lot of writing. And so for a kid who I don't even want to say like the planning was kind of like the web thing, so it would take them like 5 minutes. And then when they got into the writing, she couldn't put that all together. So it's the same type of thing that I grew up with in school, but it wasn't for her. So that's where we are with that. We're going to try something different next year. You guys can tune in. Hopefully next week I'll be sharing what she's using as a rising 7th grader. I'm waiting on her last book to come in so I can share that with you guys. This she loves. She did not do this last year. Her little sister had done this, and she found out we had printed some of these types of things off of maybe like Teachers Pay Teachers or Pinterest for the holiday last year, and she really loved them. And so she asked if she could do it this year for Logic, and she really thoroughly enjoyed it. She did them all. Really, she did this all in like the first 2 months of school, and then was asking for something else to do. So these are really neat. They have younger levels. You can see this is level 4. And so it just has smaller. It might have like 3 and 3 or 2 and 2, so that it's not quite as big of a graph, and they don't have to have as many details and try and figure it out and remember all the things. But these are a lot of fun. I remember loving to do these when I was in elementary school as well. So she did love that. We are doing something different next year just because it's hard to find. They only seem to have so many of these, but she would do those all day long if I gave them to her. Last year, we had done, what is that called? Typing.com. And because it was strictly an online program, it was like it got left by the wayside. So this year I had purchased Typing 1 by The Good and the Beautiful, in hopes that it would help to have a book form to do typing. What I found out is my kids just still didn't do it. And it was something like I felt like I didn't keep up on, because when I checked off their stuff, I went through their individual, they have like an individual box to keep their things in. And so that's what I was kind of checking through. And this was in a communal place because more than one of my students was supposed to be using it. But what I did find out is because I was trying to enforce typing, they like typing.com. So I will keep this on hand perhaps for future students, but I will not be buying Typing 2. They just didn't, I don't know. It just kind of slipped through the cracks before. And once I did start enforcing it, they found out they preferred the actual free program. So we have this if we need it. It's really not a hard book. And I think if they had kept with it, they would probably be moving on. I mean, could easily move on to book 2. Here's lesson like 59, for example. It's towards the end. So And I would just have them do it. I had them do it when they did do it in like a Google Doc. I just had them type up the stuff, but they just didn't care for it. So that was both my fourth grader and sixth grader for last year. So they did end up using typing.com though. So that did work for us when it hadn't worked for us last year. So that's what I mean. Sometimes things work and they don't work, and they might even work for a different kid or a different time period in your homeschool. Now, her favorite publisher, you can tell most of the things that she uses are from one publisher, and that is Master Books. So this year she chose to do geography, the elementary geography and cultures. It's looking at the world. They do now have a state program, but this one was of the world. She just adored this. She made it through this in no time at all. The program is for 4th through 6th grade. And there are these two books that come along, or you can purchase along with it. And so you just work through these big books. They're both infograph style, in my opinion. And then these are the worksheets. And so she could just go through and answer all the questions. Very rarely did I even find mistakes. It seemed like it was very simple for her. Now, they did have activities, and we pretty much skipped the activities. A lot of them were things that just, not all of them, but there were a lot of like food and different things that we eat a very different type of diet, so we weren't going to spend a ton of money on food that we weren't going to eat. So, but she absolutely did enjoy this. If you have a kid who likes maybe like the Usborne style books, that's what these books kind of remind me of. And so that is her style. She will sit and read those style books all day long, never complain about doing them. So it's very enjoyable for her. Just the filling out of the worksheets, which isn't her favorite thing, but she doesn't mind doing it. So that worked extremely well for her this year. In keeping with that same theme, she did America's Story 3, and she did enjoy this book as well. She did not like filling out the worksheets for this as much, but she did enjoy really reading this. Now, she prefers America's Story like 1 and even 2. She likes that early history. She's not as into modern history. So this was less of a favorite than perhaps like the earlier volumes of this, but she does enjoy the setup and learning about American history in general. So this was definitely a favorite for us. I never have to worry about learning about history with her. She just absolutely adores it. And she read a lot of historical fiction that went along with all different eras, but with this era as well. And then, you guessed it, Master Books. She did the elementary zoology, again, 4th through 6th grade, and it has all of these style books. These two are more infograph style. This kind of these are spiral bound, and they have, the books are kind of infograph style, but in the back they have some games and stuff. Now, she did not really care to do the games. I don't know if that was because nobody else was doing this particular assignment or what. She didn't really want to play the games, which was fine with me. She did read all of the books. She could sit and just read forever and be happy. And she did fill out the worksheets again. No problem. Lickety split. Very seldom did she have errors. And it's just those worksheets. The one thing she did not do at all was this book right here in the middle. We had bought it used, and I had flipped through it with her at the beginning of the school year and asked her what she thought. The book is very dry. There are some like word search, crossword, puzzle type things in there. But it's like the old style, like coloring book almost. There's no color to it. And it's all about dinosaurs, and that's just not her thing. I mean, some kids are all about dinosaurs and that's what they love. My daughter could care less. I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl. My 8-year-old son might be a different story. So she just didn't want to learn about it. I didn't push it. I didn't feel like it was so relative that she needed to have it for the assignment. So we skipped that book altogether and still was able to do all of this without a problem and felt that it was very complete. I will have her do some, we're going to do like answers in Genesis, apologetic style stuff, because I do want her to learn how dinosaurs fit into the grand scheme of things. And we've we've been to the Ark, that type of thing. So she does grasp that. But as far as doing this book, I didn't feel like it was super important in the grand scheme of the curriculum. She wasn't missing anything. And so we just left that book out completely. I didn't go ahead. There was a lot of it that was still blank in that book. But I didn't make her do it, and I didn't purchase the other book for her. We just left it out of the curriculum completely. And then finally, she did math lessons for a living education, guys. And oh my gosh, do we love this book. So first off, this was one of those weaknesses we worked on. When she came out of public school, her math was really struggling, and math and writing were huge for her. Everything else, science, history, those types of things, reading wasn't too bad. It was writing and math. And so we really worked on math for the past couple years. It took us a little bit to find the curriculum that fit. It was Masterbooks. This is our third year, I believe, using Masterbooks. And math is clicking for her now. She doesn't cry. There is no tearful days ever, which is amazing. When she struggles, she can come to me and we can work through it. I feel like this math really hits on some things that you are going to use. So we did things like, filling out checkbooks, working on net and gross pay, working on what my friend and I call toilet paper math. And, so if you're going to Walmart or you're going to like Sam's Club or Costco, getting the price point for the per roll to compare, because they're in a bulk quantity versus just a regular standard department store type quantity. So that kind of math was in here. It went through having bulk store pricing versus that. Just working on decimals converting into fractions and fractions converting back into decimals. There was just so much information in here that I felt was actually used. Where some of your math, I feel like, unless you're going to go be an engineer or something like that, you may not use. This had a lot of things that she was going to use every day in it. Things that as a mom, as an adult, as, those types of things in the future, she will use. And so I felt like this was a worthwhile math. I love the fact that she doesn't cry anymore. Obviously, I can't say enough good things about this. This is probably, I don't want to say it's her favorite because she loves history and geography, but she likes math now. She doesn't cry about it. So that is everything that my 6th grader used this year. Some of it worked, some of it didn't work. It's really helped us shape our going into junior high, that middle school age. I guess in some areas that starts in 6th grade. For us in our district, it starts in our local district. It starts in 7th, and that's the district I grew up in. So that's the way I think about it. So she is going into that junior high stage this year, and this has really helped us form a plan for those years. So I'm excited to share with you guys what she's doing next year. If you guys like these videos, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.